You walk into Target for shampoo. 45 minutes later, you're at the register with a candle, 2 throw pillows, a snack you've never tried, and oh, the shampoo. Or maybe it's midnight and you're on your phone, and there it is. Only 2 left in stock, so you buy it right now. A thing you weren't even thinking about 3 minutes ago. Was that your decision, or were you steered into it? Robert Cialdini spent years studying exactly this. His book, Influence, reverse-engineered the psychological triggers that make people say yes, not because they thought it through, but because something in their brain fired automatically. And in this video, we're going to walk through all 7 of his principles, including one that most people have never even heard of. But more than just knowing what they are, you're going to be able to spot them the next time someone uses them on you. Principles 1 through 3, the automatic yes. So, Principle 1 is reciprocity. The idea is simple. When someone gives you something, you feel a pull to give something back. It's wired into us. Cialdini actually calls it one of the most universal social norms across every human culture ever studied. You feel it at Costco when the sample lady hands you a tiny cup of guacamole. You feel weirdly obligated to at least consider buying the tub. LinkedIn does the same thing. It nudges you to endorse a connection first, and now they feel like they owe you one back. Spotify gives you a free plan, and after 6 months of skipping ads, you start to feel almost guilty not paying for premium. Here's where it gets manipulative, though. A real gift creates goodwill. A manufactured one creates debt. That free trial that auto-charges your card on day 8, that's not generosity, it's a lever. The gift was designed specifically so you'd feel obligated, not because the company wanted to give you something. Ethical reciprocity means the value you receive is real, regardless of whether you ever pay. If you have to sprint to cancel before you get charged, that's not a gift. Principle 2 is commitment and consistency. Once you say yes to something small, your brain wants to stay consistent with that version of yourself. You agreed, so now you're someone who agreed. Changing course feels like a contradiction. Dating apps figured this out. They start with easy, low-stakes questions: your name, your age, your favorite movies. By the time they ask you to pay for the premium tier, you've already invested 20 minutes building a profile. Stopping now would mean all that was for nothing. Amazon's Subscribe and Save works the same way. It starts with 1 low-commitment box of coffee pods delivered monthly. A year later, you've got 8 subscriptions, and you can't remember signing up for half of them.
The audit question here is, think about the last subscription you signed up for. Did you actually want it, or did you just not stop a process that had already started? Principle 3 is social proof, sometimes called consensus. When people aren't sure what to do, they look at what everyone else is doing and copy it. It's a mental shortcut that usually works fine, but it's also trivially easy to fake. TikTok shows you comment counts and share numbers before you've watched a second of the video. Airbnb flags certain properties as most booked this weekend in big, bold text. Netflix built an entire top 10 in your country feature, not because it helps you find something good, but because it makes you feel like the decision has already been made by millions of people ahead of you. You're not choosing, you're just catching up. The manipulative version is when the social proof is manufactured. Bot reviews, fake follower counts, comment sections seeded by bots. The honest version is when the proof is real. A product that genuinely has 40,000 reviews because 40,000 people bought it and took the time to write something. Principles 4 through 6, trust, time, and liking. Principle 4 is authority. We defer to people we perceive as experts, and we use signals, often shallow ones, to figure out who counts as an expert. A doctor in a white coat, a LinkedIn top voice badge, an article that says "as seen in Forbes," blue check marks on social media. The problem is we respond to the symbol, not the substance. A supplement brand can put "doctor formulated" on their label with almost no friction. An influencer can buy a press mention. The signal looks exactly the same whether the expertise is real or borrowed. So next time you see an authority cue, ask one question. where did this credential actually come from, and does it apply to the claim being made right now? Principle 5 is liking. You say yes to people you like. That sounds obvious, but the scale of how brands exploit it is not obvious at all. Influencer marketing is basically this principle turned into an industry. You don't follow a creator because they're the world's foremost expert on skincare. You follow them because they feel like a friend, and we buy from friends. Airbnb hosts with warm, smiling profile photos consistently get more bookings than identical listings with cold or absent photos. Apple spent decades and billions making you feel like owning their products says something true about who you are. Principle 6 is scarcity, and it's the most abused one on this list. Only 3 left in stock. 5 people are looking at this right now. Shopify countdown timers ticking towards some arbitrary deadline. The fear of missing out is genuinely powerful, and that makes it a favorite tool for manipulation.
Here's the easy test. If you close the tab and reopen it 10 minutes later, does the countdown reset? If it does, the urgency was fake. Real scarcity is a sold-out concert. Fake scarcity is a timer that resets the moment you walk away. Pressure designed to stop you from thinking. Principle 7. Unity, the one nobody talks about. Those 6 principles are in the original Influence, published in 1984. But Cialdini added a 7th in his 2016 book Persuasion, and almost nobody talks about it. It's called unity, and it's different from everything before it. Liking is about enjoying someone. Unity is about being the same kind of person as someone. That gap matters more than it sounds. When Apple ran Think Different, they weren't selling processing power or screen resolution. They were selling a self-image. If you bought a Mac, you were a creative, a rebel, not a corporate drone hunched over a beige PC. The product was almost beside the point. The identity was the product. Peloton did the same thing with a stationary bike. You weren't buying equipment. You were joining a community of people who push through 6 a.m. rides before work. The bike is just the membership card. Brand subreddits, Discord servers, Facebook groups for product owners, these aren't customer support tools, they're identity infrastructure. They make you feel like you belong somewhere, and once you belong somewhere, leaving means losing that. You'll defend the brand in comment sections. You'll recommend it to friends unprompted. You'll stick with it even when a competitor is faster, cheaper, and better, because switching would feel like a small betrayal of who you are. The us versus them framing you see in politics and sports fandoms uses the exact same mechanism. Productivity culture does it too. We're the people who wake up at 5 a.m. and do the work. That we is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's not describing a behavior, it's defining a tribe. So the persuasion audit question for unity is this: which brands, communities, or products do you feel like you genuinely belong to? And has that feeling ever made you spend money you didn't plan to spend, or defend something you'd have criticized in a stranger? That's the one to watch, because unlike a countdown timer, you can't just close the tab and reopen it to test if it's real. Conclusion: none of these 7 principles are inherently bad. They're just how human psychology works, and now you can see them running in the background. Knowing them won't make you immune, but it buys you a pause before the automatic yes kicks in. If you want to go deeper on how your subconscious drives decisions you think are conscious, watch our video on the strangest secret next. Subscribe if this video helps.